There's like, I don't know, a balance between babying yourself to where you're all self-care, no self-improvement, which really ends up not being self-care, and being too #hustle harder, where you don't give yourself any room to chill out and process information. Oh, hey, I'm Nicole Lafoti. You're watching Soundly Awake. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here, thanks for coming back. So throughout this video, you might hear Warden snoring. Oh, he's moving. Because he's literally, his head is in my lap and the microphone's right here. So today I want to talk about things I constantly have to remind myself about language learning. So if you've watched my videos before, then you know what we do here. But if you haven't, and this is the first video that you're watching of mine, I like to talk about languages and geography and like food and culture and basically things that tie all of the humans in the world. Still got to make that video of how to learn English. Things that tie everyone in the world together. A place to embrace our differences and our similarities, if you will. But along the process of trying to learn different languages, I go through periods where I'm super motivated and periods where that's not really a true fact. So I'm not always super motivated. I'm not always super organized. I'm never organized. And when it comes to remembering to do things or remembering how I do things, if I'm out of practice, I will just completely forget how to do it. And so in those periods where I'm not really on top of my game when it comes to studying or when it comes to making sure I get input in my target language, whatever day that is, I tend to forget what to do. I do the same thing with food. For example, if I'm trying to get those nutrients in, I'm trying to eat a balanced diet. If I have a period of time where I'm not doing that, and then I try to get back into it, I completely forgot what I used to eat. Is anyone else like this? And so it's important that I remind myself of the things that I may forget. So number one is it's okay to not be motivated. Now, this is not an excuse to #treat yourself and just do, whatever you want to do and think magically things that you want to happen are going to happen for you. That's absolutely not the case. But I also don't have to beat myself up about it if I have a period of time where I'm not optimizing my time, to put it delicately. Because I think that kind of creates a cycle where I feel really bad about myself and kind of guilty or shame. And then it makes it that much harder to get the motivation because then I feel worse about myself and then I feel less motivated and then I feel even worse about myself and then it's like this. You know what I mean? That's not a direction we want to see. So what that means for me is if I don't have the particular mental energy that day, I will choose activities that take the least amount of dedication. And sometimes that bar is super low. One thing that I try to do every single day, and I've been really good about this, is just opening Duolingo and doing a lesson, at least a lesson, or reading one of the stories in any of the languages that I want to learn. And I think Duolingo, we, talk a lot of crap about Duolingo. However, that little green owl and that little fire streak graphic helps me to keep language learning as a part of my daily routine, even if it's only like 5 minutes. I feel like it's a fairly easy thing for me to keep myself accountable to, and I know that I've been doing it consistently because I can see, the proof. And then a step up from that, I might force myself to watch a YouTube video in Spanish or any kind of like a short form video or a video in English about a language. Like I've been watching a couple Japanese videos. Like the videos themselves are in English, but teaching Japanese, you know what I mean? And then maybe I can watch an episode of a show or a movie. Wow, attention span goals. Oh, one thing that I do every day is if I think of a phrase in English and I'm like, I don't know how to say it in Spanish, I'll be like, look that up real quick. And now I do the same thing for Italian as well. That's another thing that like takes 2 seconds a couple times a day that doesn't really feel like I'm actively doing anything. And so even on my lowest activity days, I still have a couple things in my arsenal. Also, it's not a race. I feel like I get in my head a lot, especially if I haven't reminded myself of this fact for a while. I watch a lot of language YouTubers, and I love the whole language community on YouTube. But sometimes I'm watching people who I admire, and I just see how much progress they've made, and it's really hard to not kind of self-reflect and think, wow, I could be doing so much more to further myself in, where I want to be in speaking and understanding the languages that I'm studying. I set my own goals, and really, I don't even want to call them goals because my ultimate goal is to, yes, speak multiple languages. But I feel like it's more of a plan to stick to a routine. I think it's the routine that is the most important. So even when my brain is not in its optimal form, I know that the few things that I do try to accomplish every day is helping me work toward that eventual goal. I think if I focused on a goal and not the routine aspect of it, I probably would get discouraged a lot more often because it feels so daunting and like so far away that if I think too much about how many words I have to learn, how far I am to, speaking at a speed that I would like to speak with. I can't even speak at my desired speed in English, so who am I fooling? And that could just be me thing. Like that could work perfectly for you, but I know from experience that for me, it's not like thinking about the idealized version of myself. It's not a motivating factor. It's much easier for me to break things down into small parts and then have those habits eventually form into a routine, which eventually brings me to my goals and makes me say, hey, I guess I did that thing. I guess it worked. And then the last thing I want to mention is getting bored of a thing happens. And I feel like I get bored of things really quickly, which is why some days I'm like, well, I don't feel like learning Italian, so I'm going to start a whole new Duolingo in Japanese. And then the next day I might be like, well, I don't feel like studying Japanese today, so I'm going to study Italian. This works for me. It is not incredibly focused. It is not incredibly organized. To some people, that may look like lunacy, and that's fine. But I can't deny that I do get bored of things easily sometimes, and it's okay to just switch it up. That means switching up my resources, finding a new podcast to listen to, instead of reading the same paragraph over and over again. Even following a new Instagram account that is about a specific language. If I'm going to be mindlessly scrolling, at least I can be learning in the process. Finding new YouTubers that I like that speak a different language. Finding new YouTubers that talk about language. Because I feel like watching other people in the language community motivates me to keep doing it. Taking notes is not my strong suit, and I would love it if it were. I want to try to get into the habit of taking notes. I never even did it in school. I mean, that's a lie. I took notes in school. I just never reviewed them. Like studying, who was that? I just couldn't. I didn't have the focus. I didn't have the attention span. And like, I don't know, in homeroom, in the beginning of the day, I would just flip through my notes, look at the highlighted words and then, hope for the best. And I guess I did okay, but I feel like that's hardwired into my brain for some reason. And it's just very hard for me to take and review notes. And so many language YouTubers take notes and review notes. And I think just with all of these things combined, there's a balance between babying yourself to where you're all self-care, no self-improvement, which really ends up not being self-care, and being too #hustle harder, where you don't give yourself any room to chill out and process information. And so finding that balance, like the sweet spot, is kind of the goal. And sometimes it's hard to decipher. Like sometimes it's hard to figure out where that spot is. So I think that's all in my very rambly video that I'm gonna have to edit down a lot. If I missed anything, if there's something that you constantly need to remind yourself to stay on track, please let me know in the comments. Let me know what languages you're learning, what languages you want to learn. If you speak multiple languages already, maybe like help us all out in the comments with some tactics that you found that helped you get to your goals. I really like the idea of the comment section being just a whole community of things. So just, you know, I'm gonna be in there reading, replying. I don't mind if you guys are also in there reading and replying to each other and to me and to me to you and to you to me to you to me. You know, there might be something that just hasn't occurred to me or hasn't occurred to you. And then we'll be reading in the comments. We'll be like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. And I want that to happen. You know, I want that for us. Thank you so much to everyone on Patreon for sticking with me. Patreon.com/soundlyawake if you want some extra videos. Really helps me out, really helps the channel out, and I will love you till the end of time. Hyperbole, who's she? I would never. But that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in another video very soon. Right here on this channel or on my vlog channel. If you like vlogs, I upload a weekly vlog every week and ish. Okay, bye.